Hey everyone, today I wanted to talk about controls, hand controls specifically. And before we get going though, I want to give glory and honor to the man above. Father in heaven, thank you for this day. Thank you for the ability to just do all this, have videos and ATVs and all these blessings. I pray that you come first, Lord, in my life and anyone that's watching's life, that you come first. All this other stuff is just stuff. These things come second. You are first, Lord. Thank you for this day. Keep everyone safe that's watching this, out on the trails, track, etc. All glory and honor go to you. I thank you, Lord, in Jesus, amen. So today, Lord, guys, I want to talk about these controls. And in the last video, I kind of went over why I like the shorties. Sorry about the last video. I learned how to turn this thing sideways. That's my second video, bear with me. Anyway, more control. I can grab the whole bar and still clutch with one finger. And if you see, I have this angled down. And I do that because when I'm riding and I have my knees bent, I'm off the seat, I'm in the attack position, they call it. I want my arms are gonna go in this direction. So I want this here. I don't want them up here to where, I don't wanna grab up here, I wanna grab down here. This actually might be a little bit too high. I still have not ridden this quad yet. It's still kind of bolting everything up. So I'll get on the track. It might just be a hair too high for me. I don't know. I know everybody has their own preferences. I just prefer them angled down. Same thing over here. If you can try to get a good angle for you. They're down hard. They're pointed down pretty good. And again, same reason. I do that so that grabbing the quad, I need to grab one. I can't let go. This is not a twist throttle. I have to hold this thing. One finger's here, one's here, and I still have a really good grip on the handlebar. And again, pointed down because when I'm in the attack position, my arm is angled this way. I don't want to be grabbing up here because now I'm losing control of the bars. So again, everyone has their own preference. This is mine. And we'll see. Maybe when I get riding, maybe I'll find that this is angled too far down or not quite far down enough. But that's what I like. I just installed two things this evening. ASV does nothing, just looks cool. This is something else. Your Mosi, I guess that's how you say that. And this is so cool because I don't have big hands. Sorry about that. I don't have big hands. So for me, there's a lot going on here. I have my brake, my throttle, I have to hold on, and I don't have long fingers to be able to do all these things. So I need everything as compact and as tight as I can. And I found with the Yamaha thumb throttle, that thing was down, it was out, and it just was not, it was not good. This Mosi is so cool because this post, I can move this up and down on the post. So that means I can get this, I got it about as high as I can get, maybe a little bit more, but I got it pretty tight. But it drops down, this actually sinks in here. So it drops down significantly. If you had a bigger hand, if you needed your thumb down here, you get it. Also, on this shaft, it's got 4 set screws. I can't get them. But there's 4 set screws, so I've got my adjustability up and down. Then I've got complete adjustability front and back. Pivoting, so to speak, this way and back and forth. So I set them, but it's not done yet. So if I'm out and I find myself, oh man, I didn't adjust it right. Look at this. You pull down on it, you pivot it. Now it's that much forward. I had it kind of in the middle position. That's where I had it. Or if, again, if it's too far, it goes back here. So it's just, to me, it was expensive. This was $300. But for me, I think it's worth it because, again, I get that. For me, it's precision. Everything's tighter. It's that much more adjustable. With the Yamaha throttle, I have zero adjustability. It is what it is. And with this, I have all kinds of adjustability, which I need. Because ultimately, for me, this is gonna mean another lap, maybe 2, who knows? But this is gonna keep the arm pump down, I believe. It's gonna keep the arm pump down. It's gonna keep me, able to go for that next lap or that whatever, loop around the trail or whatever it may be. All these items, we talked about that in the last video, the flex bars and the shorties and all the other stuff, the stem and the pro bounce pegs, all these things I'm hoping keep me on the track 1 more lap, 2 more laps, whatever. But I don't know, man, this thing was really, really cool. Like there's 2, where this goes in here, up into the housing, back in here, there's 2 roller bearings. So this thing's on a bearing. I mean, that shaft is like, it's not just some stamped junk. Like it's high quality. All this is high quality. Roller bearings. So it's just really smooth. It's really well built. I mean, it's a lot of money. But back when I was riding in the early 2000s, I mean, stuff like this, I don't know, they didn't have it. Not that I knew of. So that's about it. Lastly, for anyone that's kind of new to this, full disclosure, I'm not a pro. I don't pretend to be a pro. I've never raced professionally. I'm none of that. But I've learned a few things, and I'd like to share it and help encourage others. So the last thing I want to talk about real quick, when you're setting up this stuff, I kind of talked about the positions. Last video I talked about, these new, when I put on new grips, I have a tough time getting these on. So I use, some kind of lube to kind of like help slide them on. And even with that, it was really tight. But then I come back with these wire ties, and that keeps them, they're not moving. So we talked about the shorties, we talked about, the angle, talked about, how I like to set it up. And again, this might change on the trail. We'll have to see how it goes. But the last thing I wanted to talk about was setting up the cables. I see a lot of these people that just don't really fully understand this. Same goes with the clutch. So you got your throttle cable here, you have your clutch cable here. And I set them up for just a tiny bit of slack. You see that? That's all I have. So right there, it's engaging. Right there, it's engaging. So just a tiny bit of slack. Same with my clutch. There it is. It's hard to really show this, but just a tiny bit of clutch, of slack, we'll call it, before I'm starting to engage. And I think that's important because a lot of these things I've seen guys where they're just too darn tight. There's 0 slack. And when that's happening, that's bad news for both sides, here and here. When you have no slack here, that means that your clutch is partially disengaged and you are just straight slipping your clutch and burning it. So super important to have a little bit of slack here, but not too much, because then, this doesn't have, especially this lever, this shorty, this does not have a long clutch pull. This is pretty darn minimal, I think. And if I have too much slack here, well, I'm only going to be partially disengaging this. So again, more clutch slippage and so forth. So you just want just a tiny bit, you can kind of pull it, it's loose, and then boom, there it is. Same here, it's a little bit more easy to see on the video here. You can kind of see that's all my slack. Same thing here, if you have too much slack, well then when you do this, you're not actually getting all the throttle. So you're not getting everything your machine has, because you just can't open the throttle, there's too much slack. Flip side, if you don't have enough slack, if you're just too tight, well, that means that your throttle is already somewhat open before you even touch it, because there's no slack in your cable, and there's a chance that you could actually, it could be so tight to the point where it's opening up your butterfly in your throttle body, or your slide in your carburetor, depending on what you're riding. So you could see how that'd be a big problem. I mean, your idle is going to be high. It's just not going to be right. You just don't want that. So yeah, that's about it, guys. Only thing that I'm not super excited about is this cable. It's because I raised these bars, because I put, because I raised the stem. This is a +1 Hauser. Because I put new bars on the flex, and now I have a new throttle. I've changed 3 different things, from factory, and kept the factory throttle. And I think I can get away with it, but I think it might be better just to order an extended one. I have to see who offers that, you know, plus, you know, maybe 1 extra inch, 2 extra inches max, and that should get me where I need to be. So thanks for watching, guys. You know, as this thing progresses, I think I'm close to being done. We'll see about the pipe and all that stuff. I mean, there's a million videos on pipe, so we'll see what happens there. But really, my biggest next focus, like I talked about in the last video, is this suspension and really dialing it in. So I still have to kind of research that and understand what's happening there with all the, I understand what they are. You know, you have your high speed compression, low speed compression, your rebounds on the bottom, you know, your spring compression, your ride height. This is all right here. I understand the functions. I just don't know where my settings should be. And I don't know if that's something that I'm going to need to ride and feel it. You know, will I even know what to do? Who knows? So I'm going to kind of dig into that and see who's got any videos about that. Talk to some guys and see what I can come up with. And I don't know. I guess we'll put another video up. You know, if it's something that you guys are interested in also and kind of wanted to see. Just kind of giving you an overview of the ATV. So, all right.